where the injustice meted at one man is now snowballing into a full-blown crisis. I am going to say this just again. Nnamdi Kanu, that has been sort of demonized enough that a lot of you will agree, or a lot of you did agree, that he deserved to be punished, jailed, killed, and every other thing you wished, simply because some of you felt like if they didn't do that to stop Nnamdi Kanu, one day will be one day that those that couldn't use that force, you said, to stop Nnamdi Kanu will not be able to go back to Eastern Nigeria. I mean, some of you predicted that, yeah? Okay. As much as you might be telling yourself today that you said it, unknown gunmen, people who are forcing people to sit at home, those who are bragging and making videos of destroying people's wares, people's businesses, smashing them, and singing of sit at home, go and sit at home. A lot of people on social media, most of them not victims per se, most of them reacting, their own way of showing that reacting to the injustice meted at one man. But let me just remind you something. One of the things that actually goes wrong or went wrong from the start is that a lot of time was expended and allowed for falsehood, misrepresentation to actually spread. And this falsehood and misrepresentation, they were coming from the government. They were the source of this discontentment, all right? These divisive rhetorics that further make the conversation around why do they want Biafra? Why do you even have IPOB? You know, making the conversation around that very, very difficult to have, if not impossible. Because people already have their own personal premonition or conclusion per se about anything that has to do with Biafra or referendum or breakup. The politicians who were supposed to actually manage this from the start thought it would never, in a way, get out of hand if they, rather than manage it, if they milk it and make it deteriorate enough, right? But here we are today. Let me tell you that. The conversation around the Biafra, referendum, and Nnamdi Kanu, and whatever you have as your personal experience. For now, I'm not going to rule out people's experiences here, okay? Now, we all know it has become almost impossible to even have a clean, clear, understandable, sort of communicative conversation. Any clearer conversation, intelligent conversation. You know what I mean? Conversation around why Biafra, okay? And why now? And kind of like, you know what I mean? Conversation around that would have helped a lot of people who have sort of been sort of agitated based on what they are told. What this simply means is, if you hear Biafra, it is calling for war. And you should reject anybody that mentions that. So it was more or less like naturally, if anybody mentions Biafra, is considered as an aggressor. and whatever they see, they should take it. A lot of us are guilty of this. And that's why I'm trying to make you understand the role you have played in today's crisis in Eastern Nigeria, all of us. And being hostile makes it kind of like whatever you see, or should I say, it gave the politicians a sort of a free line, a license to do whatever they like with the people that they considered as problematic, aggressors, those who want to break Nigeria. Meanwhile, in that conversation around Biafra, the intelligent people, the intelligent Biafrans, when I say intelligence, it means those who actually understands why. They had this conversation around why do they want a Biafra, and why is Biafra back again? In the political conversation of Nigeria. Is Nigeria not beyond that Biafra now? I mean, what happened to no winner, no vanquish? But because you have been programmed to see it as a call for war, so psychologically, you have to resist it. You shouldn't entertain the conversation around it. But here is what happened. 50 years after the Nigeria Civil War, 53 years after the Nigeria Civil War, the Igbos have still not been integrated into the Nigerian system, despite the fact that after the war, the Igbos have been the most traveled. Igbos, who are Nigerians, have been those who have actually invested en masse outside their region. Forget this political sort of orchestration that made that sort of a thing. But when you look at after the Nigerian Civil War, okay, and then you look at those who have exhibited the real Nigerian, something that says all Nigerians can live anywhere in Nigeria, wherever they want, and run their legitimate businesses. They have been those who have done so much to integrate into the rest of Nigeria. But when it comes to their real place in Nigeria, where it has become a sign of belonging, sort of a sense of belonging, right? When you have a chance to be at the leadership position of that country, something that has become an open conversation, right? And after 53 years, the rest of Nigeria are being convinced by the political criminals, past and present, why an Igbo can never lead Nigeria. A sort of a condescending statement that being an Igbo, if you are an Igbo, how would you feel? So, the criminals in Nigeria, even the Igbo politicians themselves, who have failed woefully, like woefully in this scheme of things, they were more kind of comfortable having if all the Igbos can leave Igbo land and go elsewhere and just bring whatever they can bring back, they'll be fine with that. Right? Now, having failed made it easier for Nnamdi Kanu to remind the Igbos that no matter what they do, no matter how much they integrate, no matter how much they invest in Nigeria, they will continue to be reminded that they are not wanted in Nigeria. Now, if they are not wanted in Nigeria, if it has gotten to a stage whereby an Igbo man, an Igbo woman is questioning his place in a country that is meant to be his country or a country, and every now and then, he or she is reminded that no matter what they do, no matter who they are, they will never be in charge of Nigeria. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu decided to remind the Igbos their true history. Remind the rest of Nigeria our true history. The ones that they believe, if they are told in your classrooms, of course, you probably won't be proud Nigerians. No, you won't say you are proud Nigerians, of course. So they kept them away. Now, instead of the politicians who actually listen to Nnamdi Kanu, who kind of so scared that the people Nnamdi Kanu is addressing, if something is not done, these people may revolt one day. And when they revolt, they may actually follow Nnamdi Kanu to demand for Biafra. And if that should happen, the first casualty of that will be the Igbo politicians, Igbo elites, who have managed to secure their own seats on this corrupt Nigeria table. One Nigeria. So what happened? Instead of them to probably address things that make Nnamdi Kanu's messages so acceptable to so many demographics of Igbos, locally and internationally, diaspora and in Igbo land, why are they listening to this guy? They were listening to him too, right? Rather than kind of bridge that gap, the gap of marginalization, the gap of discrimination, the gap of state-sponsored profiling, the gap of economic, economic jihad against the Igbos, political jihad against the Igbos. You know, all these things are existing. Igbos are over 60 million people. That is not a number that any reasonable leader of Igbo extraction should ignore or undermine. Why did Nnamdi Kanu become so powerful? Why? Because of the failure of those who were shouting one Nigeria on one hand, no Igbo on the other hand. And the Igbos, who have done so much as part of Nigeria, many of them born outside Igbo land. And that kind of made some of them can speak so many Nigerian languages, but they are always constantly reminded, they will never, ever lead Nigeria. It's not because the Igbos are desperate to lead Nigeria. If it is left at not leading Nigeria, that's okay. But there are those in the corridors of power in Nigeria, the owners of Nigeria, who are no longer able to hide their own prejudice against the Igbos, right? That they have started using the state machineries, the state apparatuses to hunt down and profile the Igbos, their businesses and everything in Nigeria. These are happening and there are victims. So when Nnamdi Kanu speak about their dilemma, he speaks so passionately as a victim too. You know, you can't speak about what is going on in Nigeria if you haven't experienced it. You can't. You'll be faking it. It will be so obvious that you are faking it. But if you want to talk about what is going on in Nigeria and you have experienced them firsthand, any part of them, when you are speaking to people who are experiencing them now, it will just be like you are speaking straight into their consciousness. And that's a very powerful way to connect with people. When you connect with what they daily face that nobody want to even address, nobody want to talk about. So rather than build on this and at least take a look at all these shortcomings, give the Igbos the voice. Give them their exact place in that Nigeria. If you want to, if you really want that one Nigeria to make sense, right? Now, if people are actually doing that, okay, and this issue of economic sabotage, jihad, if they see that indeed these are kind of reducing, okay, the development of the underdevelopment of Igbo land, that a lot of you will conveniently say the Igbo governors are to be blamed for the underdevelopment of Igbo land. Of course, you'll be right. But at the same time, when you have a region where those who killed over 5 million people to force them to remain in Nigeria feels like they didn't kill enough, the owners of Nigeria. So rather than follow their no winner, no vanquish nonsense, it was switched to Cold War. So, which indirectly means anything but Igbo. And anything to use to justify this cruelty, this cruelty against them is welcomed. So rather than look into all of the rants, complaints, facts here and there of Nnamdi Kanu, and find a way to cover them up enough that this underdevelopment, this this second-hand or third-class citizens of how they are treating the Igbos would have discouraged at least more people from listening to Nnamdi Kanu. But when Nnamdi Kanu says something, and the following day, those things started happening. The people that ignored him yesterday, they want to listen to him tonight. When they listen to him tonight, and they begin to tell them things again, they are already connected. They already feels like Nigeria doesn't want them. Okay? And it is by the Nigeria action. They have already agreed that their political elite, they are also in on it. Okay? So, this man is a prophet that is trying to bring all of us back to our senses. If we don't act, we'll perish. So instead of looking into those vices, into those complaints that Nnamdi Kanu listed for years, they diverted your attention more to Nnamdi Kanu's negative words. Yeah, they want you to remember how Nnamdi Kanu insulted the Yoruba churches, how Nnamdi Kanu insulted the Yoruba women, how Nnamdi Kanu insulted these Yoruba men, how Nnamdi Kanu insulted the Yoruba race, how Nnamdi Kanu insulted the Fulani race. You know what I mean? That's exactly, if they want to have their Biafra, they should have their Biafra. How can you be insulting the Yorubas? You this kiniko. So you are so raging. So that worked, by the way. It worked. So what happened? The elite in Nigeria, Igbos, Yorubas, Fulanis, Awusas, all of these criminals, they were able to make Nnamdi Kanu the symbol of scapegoat that you love him to be. Nigerians were requesting, they should arrest this Nnamdi Kanu. They should take kiniko. They should kill this kiniko. We'll kill all these Igbo again. Like people were kind of mocking the Igbos that they were killed and they will kill them again if they try any nonsense. But they don't want them to go. Now, despite all of this, I will keep reminding you, there was no unknown gunmen in eastern Nigeria. There was no harassment or anything of anybody in eastern Nigeria. There are videos where Nigerian policemen, they were fighting to take pictures with Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, there are videos where Nigerian policemen were providing the pathway for Nnamdi Kanu to walk through this mammoth crowd. So there was never anything unknown gunmen. There was never anything IPOB harassment. They were having meetings. I'll show you something. You know this video? Now take a look at these people. These are IPOB members in Eastern Nigeria. When the whole conversation was around why Igbos want referendum, they were not even asking for war. So take a look. This is what it looked like in Eastern Nigeria when IPOB, right, under Nnamdi Kanu, was preaching about Biafra. Elderly, young people, they will gather together. They will talk about all their problems. They will talk about all their aspirations. They will remember all of their, ancestors and the past heroes and heroines and all that. Then they will plan ahead and say, well, whenever the time comes, we will come together, okay? And we will vote for Biafra. This is the people that they are telling you or making you believe in outside Igbo land as, violent people. Take a look. You remember this song now?
Oh, ye do I call. Oh, Mary, Abakare, Mama Baora, Unapuri, Mary, Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's a three. Unapuri, Mary, Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's a three. Unapuri, Mary, Nnamdi bo onye du aimo. O Mary Nizu mbiro ya. Abakare. Mama Ndamura, Unapuri Mary Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's a three. Unapuri Mary Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's a three. Unapuri Mary Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's a three. Unapuri Mary Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's a three. Unapuri Mary Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's a three. Unapuri Mary Nnamdi.
So those are the people they want you to believe are terrorists. Those are the people they want you to believe are dangerous people. That's what they do. They sing and all of that. This was even after Python dance, when they sent soldiers to go and hunt down young Igbos. All of this happened. We saw them killed. And a lot of you justified those killings. You said Nnamdi Kanu send the young people to their death. How did he send them to their death? You watched the criminals in Nigeria justified killing other Nigerians who identify as Igbos. That happened. Despite all of this, they kidnapped him. And after kidnapping him, they started their unknown gunmen. Suddenly, some ragtag criminals that are being sort of encouraged, mostly on social media, now find it kind of all right for the man, Nnamdi Kanu, that is locked up illegally, because you should always remember that, that it now makes sense, right, to shoot and kill and attack the same Biafrans that I have heard Nnamdi Kanu speak about. And they said because Nigeria won't release Nnamdi Kanu, and if Nigeria is not going to release Nnamdi Kanu, all the Igbos in Igbo land, they must sit at home. How inconsiderate is that? But they said, Nnamdi Kanu is in detention. Because Nnamdi Kanu is in detention, okay, is suffering in the DSS detention. Why are the people in Igbo land think they should? I mean, they can't sit at home for a whole week until the Nigerian government will release Nnamdi Kanu. Now, you see, when Nnamdi Kanu was here, when I first heard about the sit at home, it was a voluntary thing that people actually did, and they were doing it with so much kind of like happiness. You know why? Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was able to remind the Igbos that remembering all those killed by Nigeria during that the genocidal war, it is not enough to remember them just for that one single day. Like, if all of us can actually have that as a public holiday, I remember that. And it was something that a lot of people actually shared up. They're like, you know what? We'll be sitting at home on the day that we'll remember our ancestors that died defending or fighting for Biafra, so to say, or killed because of their origin and their nationality as Biafrans, okay? And that was how sit at home became a thing. It wasn't a protest. It was meant to be an holiday that should be like a national holiday in Igbo land. If to say Nigeria, they didn't do everything to try to bury the massacre or the genocide, one of the worst in the history of Nigeria. If they didn't try to, then when they adopted that as a means of protest, it was like, we're going to have to sit at home as a protest that we are not happy that Nigeria is treating Nnamdi Kanu, Nigeria is treating him. But see the charlatans who have hijacked that now. See the destroyers who have hijacked that now. See all the kind of criminals who are celebrating the destruction of the livelihood of their fellow Igbos. The politicians who actually kickstarted this unknown gunmen, somehow, they did this to further rise you up in order to maybe find something they can say Nnamdi Kanu is the one sponsoring them. But guess what? Nnamdi Kanu from the detention repeatedly said, if you have to hurt a fellow Biafran to prove a point to Nigeria, you are just being stupid. It's as simple as that. You should see the amount of hurt or damages that the Igbos are subjected to in Nigeria today. This level of limitation, the marginalization, discrimination, that a lot of people are currently feeling like it's normal that the Igbos are subjected to in Nigeria today. You can't be fighting for the same Igbos, especially the poor ones, the poor Igbos, that actually like others in Nigeria, they live on what they kill. You cannot be so heartless and cold-hearted and say you are fighting for Nnamdi Kanu, and you are making videos of you attacking your fellow Igbos. Then it's so funny. I've said this before. I know politicians are involved. In fact, I believe strongly that, you see, the unknown gunmen and the rest of them, they are politically sponsored. But gone are the days when on social media, people will be celebrating unknown gunmen because they are punishing those who have been punishing the Igbos in Nigeria. Until I reminded them of, listen, if you look at it very well, think about it, like these guys who suddenly appear from nowhere are in no way representing the same IPOB that I am quite, I mean, you can call me one of the researchers of the activities of the IPOB. None of them is related to violence. None of them. Nnamdi Kanu talks tough. What do you do when you have to pass a message to people who choose to be ignorant intentionally? Of course, you're going to be kind of like firebrand. And he did that, and he got the attention, not just the attention of the Igbos, he got the attentions of the entire Nigeria. But it's not violent. It was never one, and there was never any traces of violence, right? And I was like, hey, don't celebrate this, so. Because then some were like, the unknown gunmen are DSS. The unknown gunmen are Fulani, this and that, who are disguising as Igbos. I was one of those who actually told people to stop saying that. That doesn't make any sense. Okay? We have seen those we believe. Not until now, I've never been seen to be associated with IPOB. Not the IPOB I know. They've never been associated with them. Okay? Then suddenly, their own kind of IPOB is that, or their own kind of Biafra struggle is going to be threat after threat, threat after threat. And when they carry out those threats cowardly, they go to places where people can't really fight them back, okay? And they start shooting and making videos and telling them, stay at home and sit at home. Then they say, well, they are not Fulani and they are not DSS. There are some people being paid. Now, lately, we are beginning to realize that this might actually be a collection of different criminals whose purpose is to create this scenario you are seeing in Eastern Nigeria today. But unfortunately, we have heard about the role of Asari Dokubo in this whole crisis. But just like in 2015, when the Igbo politicians felt like they actually knew how to, end this crisis. It wasn't such a crisis at the time. So rather than them to look into the core problem that is fueling agitation, that is also making the message of those asking for Biafra, whether they are asking for it violently, or they are asking for it peacefully, or they are whatever it is, instead of them to look into those disenfranchisements, those discrimination and the rest of that, and be the voice of the Igbos. And when I say the voice, I mean to genuinely, be pro-Igbo and Igbo land. When I say pro-Igbo and Igbo land, drop the idea of this one Nigeria. Be truthful to yourselves and honest. Be sincere with your people, okay? But no, they won't. Do you know what they are doing right now? They are making it worse. In Enugu, they are harming some people. Okay? This is the politicians now. They are harming some people and they call them special forces. And their job is to go after any IPOB they see. Remember they said the problem is unknown gunmen, Abi? But they are putting together different forces now in Eastern Nigeria. But let me remind you, when Nnamdi Kanu was lamenting about the Fulani kidnapping and killing and raping Igbo women and men and all of that in Igbo land, invading Igbo land, and he was screaming about that and all that. And he said, when he met with them in Enugu, before they staged his assassination, that is kind of survived, right? So in Enugu, he listed and he said, security is one of them. That the Igbo leaders, okay, if they care about Igbo land, they should come together and put together the Igbo security apparatus that is only comprising of Igbos who understand the terrain to provide security for the Igbos in Igbo land. He listed about 11 demands. In all of these 11 demands, they all bordered on caring for the Igbos in Igbo land, open the seaport, create jobs for the people. give them electricity, improve on the infrastructure of the people, including medical facilities, okay? Improve on education for them. I mean, Igbos are traders, make available resources that Igbos will be happy to invest in and stay in Igbo land and develop the Igbo land so that a day is coming that Igbo land will be completely free of Nigeria. This development will be yours and all that. He listed them. None of those demand asked for anything for himself. None. And I think that's what jotted them. So what did they do? They sent security. I mean, they sent the Nigerian military after him to assassinate him. He escaped. Then from that exile, he put together, never seen before. You saw the video. Young Igbos and not too young Igbos who came together to provide that same security. And they were called Eastern Security Network, ESN. The Igbo elite, they were alarmed. A lot of you were alarmed too. Oh, Nnamdi Kanu is putting together his army. Oh, Nnamdi Kanu is going to start war. It was easier for the government and the criminal government of Nigeria under Buhari to convince you why they need to mobilize the military and start hunting down any Igbo they see. Remember, this Eastern Security Network, their main mission and mandate is to stay, open their camps inside all of the forest in Igbo land. There was no agenda of, oh, we are putting you together, it is to go and fight war and start Biafra. Or we are putting you together, is to kick everybody who is non-Igbo out of Igbo land. Or we are putting you together to go after people and start collecting taxes for me. No. Because by the time Nnamdi Kanu established ESN, Eastern Security Network, there were already Biafrans across 140 countries of the world who are annually, regularly remitting their own membership dues to fund any idea, any project, or any developmental, what have you, in Igbo land. IPOB became that prominent. 140 countries. It was able to be that powerful. Nnamdi Kanu was powerful, and I believe he is still very much powerful. Very powerful in this regard because of the amount of people who took their time, okay, to listen to him and see his clear, sincere intention. None of them is in any way to hurt anybody. Of course, that rattled the Igbo politicians. What did they do? They further kind of intensify their effort to get Nnamdi Kanu killed. Their media was feeding you everything they wanted you to hear because it was like setting the stage. Anyone who is paraded by this criminal military in Nigeria, they will just tell you it's IPOB member. They don't arrest all this IPOB member again. Innocent people were raided. For years, a lot of them were killed. Their organs, harvested and sold off. I'm not making this up. All of this happened. None of all Nnamdi Kanu's points were in any way looked into or attempted to actually fix. No, for those years, they were hunting for him. And they were spending money on things to kind of justify why they must kill him and kill IPOB. So unfortunately, they started the Ebubeagụ. Ebubeagụ was supposed to be like security network that they failed to set up when Nnamdi Kanu met with them in Enugu then. What they didn't do, they decided to, but you know something? Ebubeagụ's mandate is not to go after criminals, not even after the unknown gunmen or the Fulani terrorists that are wreaking havoc in this different part of Nigeria. No, their mandate given to them by the governors from Ebonyi to Owerri, Imo, from Owerri to Abia, from there to Anambra, and from there to Enugu, all these places, the mandate given to Ebubeagụ is to hunt down the people they call Nnamdi Kanu supporters or IPOB. Once you arrest or capture them, and they make it look like Nnamdi Kanu's or IPOB supporters or IPOB members, they are like people who don't live in communities. These are elderly people, young people, normal people, okay, that you meet like normally, indigenous people of Biafra. Anyway, they said that Nnamdi Kanu won more enemies than friend. I don't believe that. So it became a clog that they just have to hunt down. Now you see this hunting him down has now backfired. A lot of ragtag criminals are now parading themselves as people who are fighting to release Nnamdi Kanu. And guess those they are now targeting? The same people Nnamdi Kanu is believed to currently being punished for. And don't forget, even if you wished him to be killed, jailed for life, it should be this and that, but you will still remember that there are supposed to be laws. If you believe you have rights, he also have rights, okay? If you believe he has committed any crime, then you have the right to present the evidence. They kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu. Then they took him to court without any evidence of what he's done. They just want the court to say, keep him. Just keep him. Now, the same court said, let him go. If you can't really prove this or that. All of you heard that. Well, it's like a selected judgment, or selected or selective judgment. You see all these ragtag criminals, online and offline, that are contributing and fueling this endless sort of crisis in Eastern Nigeria. Those who are telling themselves that they have a point to prove. I can tell you this for free. There is none of them that is speaking for Nnamdi Kanu. Because, I mean, they don't even have that passion. If they have the passion of Nnamdi Kanu, if they have the sincerity of Nnamdi Kanu, they will never, in any way, mute an idea that will hurt any Biafran in Biafra land. Whether they agree to sit at home or they don't agree to sit at home, you will never feel comfortable hurting them. Talk less of making videos, of shooting and killing them because you want to ward them off. Now, I am saying that whatever is going on in Eastern Nigeria, I once said, Tifnubu should not inherit Bokwari's enemies. One of Bokwari's inherited enemies is Nnamdi Kanu. Court says he should go. Now, if Tifnubu is going to actually start well in this conversation around injustice and all that, he will ask the court, okay, to let him go, or not just ask the court. He would ask the DSS holding him to let him go. There's this personal conviction I have, and that personal conviction is that there are those who really don't want Nnamdi Kanu to be released. In fact, majority of those who are claiming to be fighting for his release, and they are causing this havoc as we are witnessing them today, they probably don't even want him released. Maybe some of them actually want him killed so that they can have justification for voluntarily destroying Biafra land, the same place that Nigerian military are wreaking havoc every day. So, if not, if Nigeria releases Nnamdi Kanu today, it will be easier to see the intention of those who are shouting Biafra and using his name. It will be very easy. You know how? There are many of them who are already accusing Nnamdi Kanu that Nnamdi Kanu is no longer the same Nnamdi Kanu. That if Nnamdi Kanu comes out and he tells them, right, to stop all of this, the same Nnamdi Kanu will not be spared. But I am saying that it's so easy for a lot of people to make a lot of mouth when the king is not around. Now, if those who claim that they are doing something to restore the peace in Eastern Nigeria, those who are funding all these terrorists in Eastern Nigeria, if they really actually mean it and they care, you release Nnamdi Kanu and watch how all these charlatans, these rogues, and their sponsor will not only be exposed, they will disappear like they never happened. I'm very convinced. Nnamdi Kanu has been subjected to the most dehumanizing kind of conditions that even if you have convicted him of any crime, you shouldn't treat him that way. All of these are being passed on, and the Igbo politicians are currently buying guns for another set of political friends of theirs that they can just assemble to start hunting those that are mostly their political enemies. And all they have to accuse them of is that they are IPOB. And they are those who are enforcing sit at home. Repeatedly, IPOB came out official and they said they are not declaring any sit at home in Igbo land. But there are others who are saying the IPOB is compromised. The IPOB is this and that. They are now in charge. But look at all of this wreck. If you want all of that to end, release Nnamdi Kanu. I know it's something that is a top shot or a long shot. I'm not begging you to release him. I'm saying obey your law, obey your courts, and then we can see those behind the arson in Eastern Nigeria. Because as we can say right now, the Nigerian military is destroying wherever they want to. In Imo State, they are bombing, shooting, and massively arresting innocent people. All of these are going on under the radar. And of course, the Igbo politicians probably are playing either ignorance or trying to pretend that they are doing something, only to further aggravate and then worsen the situation. Save your energy. Olisa Metu and Pius Ayim, they said they met with Tifnumbu because of Nnamdi Kanu. I'll see that when that happens. My strong belief is this: self-determination is not a crime. Okay? Self-determination is a legitimate and universal right. It's just a way of saying we want this or we want that. Okay? And it is also part of the democracy as well. Criminalizing self-determination is not going to make it go away. It is just going to radicalize more. And I hope they won't make further mess of this situation in Eastern Nigeria. I'll leave it at that. I'm going to take calls because I know a lot of you will have one or two things to add, especially with all I have shared so far. It's up to you. I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea first. So when I get back, I will take calls and it's over to you. Don't go anywhere.
Onye du aịkpọ o meriwo n'izu onye ya abakarị mama dawụra ụlọ pụrụ imeri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's 1, Python that's 2, now Python that's 3. Ụlọ pụrụ imeri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's 1, Python that's 2. Now Python that's 3. Una pụghị imeri Nnamdi bụ onye du aịkpọ o meriwo n'izu mbiro ya abakarị mama ndawụra una pụghị imeri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's 1, Python that's 2. Now Python that's 3. Una pụghị imeri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's 1, Python that's 2. Now Python that's 3. Una pụghị imeri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's 1.
Listen.
Hello?
Hey, my caller, just a moment, okay? Just one moment before we continue. Listen, guys, all right? I have people who normally, okay, are on this Mayegun's Diary Political. And they are on Mayegun's Diary Political because they heard about Mayegun. And they heard about this man who seems to be, blunt and then straightforward with his analysis and all that. And over time, whenever I mentioned what I just discussed so far, it's not the first time when you will tell me to not meddle in this, your Biafra. I know why you will say that, okay? I'm just being diplomatic. Trust me, okay? I am just being diplomatic when I'm trying to like pass my message without trying to, you know what I mean? Trying to kind of point fingers that much. Nobody is stupid, okay? And on Mayegun's diary political, you will actually be talking to a wrong person when you say to Mayegun, it should not dabble into Biafra. You dey crazy, ne? Like, would it be today that it's going to be an abomination for Mayegun to dabble into Biafra? Like, So we can see those of you who are actually destroying what this whole thing actually mean. And if he annoys the hell out of you, that Mayegun is dabbling into it, you know what to do. You can excuse yourself, so to say, seriously. And, or you can pick up the phone and say it to my face. Mayegun, shut up your mouth about sit at home. All of that, okay? And then maybe you can listen to my own response too. Don't be a keypad warrior, all right? Just make the phone call. Hello there.
Hello, Mayegun.
How you doing, Baba?
I'm doing great. Mayegun, this is my first time calling. I am very surprised that I'm even getting through. I just like hit it and I went through the first time because
is that your first try?
Because yes, first try, first dial, first try. And I got through because I watch your program. I see people say, hey, I keep going and going. And I'm like, man, all these people are always saying the same thing. But, you know, I'm happy that I got through and, hey, you're doing an excellent job.
Thanks,
you know, I don't know how I stumbled onto your, to this right now, but I'm very happy that I did. And this is a religious thing that I do. I mean, I have you in my car. I have you at home. I have you everywhere, and you know I'm very happy that you know
Thanks,
you're this out and stuff on this. So I'm actually calling. My name is Jimmy. I'm actually calling from Houston, in the United States and stuff here. Hey, I'm looking at it like you know every time you talk, you make a lot of sense, man, because Nigeria just looks like it's a place that's just boiling, about to explode, and it's coming. It's coming very sooner than expected. Is what it is, sooner than expected and stuff on there. Because what this guy is actually doing right now, the first thing about Nigeria, first problem about Nigeria is really there's no accountability for anything.
That's right. Nobody's responsible for the actions.
Accountability for anything. And based on what you said today about us not being able to go to Seychelles, other countries are coming.
Yeah.
Other countries are in the pipeline, and it's just coming because the Nigerian passport pretty much right now is worthless. I'm sorry. And it's just in my opinion.
That should ordinarily be an insult if somebody says we don't want Nigerians in our country anymore. Like 6 months ago or 7 months ago, you are smiling to the camera, signing a deal that
Correct.
Nigerians could fly in straight flight to your country. What went wrong?
Correct. Now, before I wrap up, I just want to, based on what we just talked about right now, saying about being worthless, how can a Nigerian passport be worthless in another African country? So that's just a message. Everybody should just look. How can the biggest country in the most populous country in Africa, how can our passport be worthless in other African countries? And I'm done, Mayegun. I mean, I'm not saying I'm done with you, but I'm just done. I mean, it's just frustrating.
Like, it gets to that point where you just feel like, you know, this is a rhetorical question that the answer is always going to be the same. Like, you know, should we call it an unfortunate, you know, kind of connection or so? Baba, Jimmy, let me take a
Thanks so much.
Thanks you.
All right. Appreciate it. All right.
Yeah,
Take care,
man. Thank you. So I have another caller on the line, and hang on. Hello there, Prince Jajama. Is that you?
Yes, this Prince Jajama. My good general.
I think I know you'll be interested in this. So
let's
manage the time, please.
I do, Papa. Yeah, Papa. Well done for the good job. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
We can't thank you enough. You know. Yeah, I have to talk on 2 points. The earlier the Sunday Simon about the Lauren
Hmm.
issue. You see, Nnamdi Kanu used to talk much about that a lot, and he used to shout and warn the Yorubas, about the Afonja connection of how Afonja was being political, doing politics with his people, and at the same time, before that, the encroachment of the Fulanis and how they established their emirate there, you know. And this is the same thing that he was doing in the southeast. He sensitized everybody, made us to know that even some of us are in Kogi State, some of us are in caught into Benue State.
Mhm.
Before I am an Igbo Biafran, but I don't know about all these histories. Because Nigeria buried the history. Doesn't want anybody to know about what is happening. So now they can enlighten everybody to know, and that's why every 90, I believe 95% of Biafrans, so they've not 99, are aware of their geography, and that's why we are all standing up.
Hmm.
If they are doubting anything, let them conduct referendum,
Hmm.
okay? And see, let them not worry, let them not pity us. Just conduct a referendum. Those that want to be in Nigeria will be in Nigeria, and those that want to go will go. There's no big deal about that. So Yorubas they should stand up early enough, because this Muslim ticket, that's the reason why they are doing all this they are doing. Is a terrorist agenda. Terrorists don't have religion. But what they are pushing for, when you don't allow others in the society to live freely, is terrorism. It's an act of terrorism. Okay? In a secular state, you are trying to force your will against upon others. So that is one. On the aspect of the issue of IPOB you talked about today,
Yes, sir.
you are being so diplomatic about it, and which is very good.
Yeah,
You are
that's what I'm
handling it
trying to say earlier. I
maturely.
said I am just trying to be diplomatic. I don't want to be vulgar. I don't want to be that a gutter guy like some of them are kind of turning into, because that's actually not shouldn't be about the
Exactly.
agitation. You know what I mean? Or again,
Yeah,
go on, Baba.
I know that you knows about everything that is going on,
I
because
do.
you take your time to study what is going on. You don't. Their channel is where people will get at least, if not 100%, we say 99% true information about anything going on about Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Okay, so before ever you may issue any statement on your channel, you make sure that you do the finding very well.
That's right.
So the people that are talking about now they cannot stand for one thing about the Biafrans. He stand for the unity of Biafran. He managed to unify the east, west, north, and south of Biafra, made us to understand that we are one. So you see, that is his footprint. So anybody who is standing up saying that he's fighting for Nnamdi Kanu, but he's bringing disunity into his a movement or agitation, the person is not fighting for Nnamdi Kanu. And two, Nnamdi Kanu is fighting to protect. He take a great risk to go and establish ESN. It's for the protection of Biafran people. So anything that you are doing that will cause harm to Biafran people, yeah, is not for the interest of Biafran. It's not the
That's
interest
what I
of
believe.
Nnamdi Kanu,
Mm.
that you stand there. You are telling people that you are fighting for, because by their fruit, not by what you said,
Mhm.
by their fruit is we shall know them. People who are doing the right thing. That is very clear. So today we are everything that we are doing. Now they kind of said in the court that, look, I want peace in the eastern Nigeria. I want the people everywhere to be calm.
Mhm.
Okay, and you know that whenever this is sit at home that is not for the day of the kind of court is put in, it attracts all non-state, all different kind of group of armed this thing to come in and take advantage and start to do one thing or the other, you know. And thank God that always IPOB disassociate themselves from everything so that the international community will continue to take note. We are a peaceful organization, and that's what we stand for until Biafra is being restored. So thank you very much, my good general, for your great job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, remember.
Let me take another one. I'm here.
Hello.
So.
Hello, Baba Mayegun.
Baba.
Good evening.
Is that Osagede?
No. This is Chidozie from Luton.
I'm so sorry, right?
Yeah.
I was looking at that. I was like, how you doing, Baba? Chidozie.
I'm good. Look, the thing is that I've been following for the past, how many years? But my parents came from Nigeria to visit me, and they've been in love with you all this time. So they just want to say hello to you.
Hey.
They are over 18. Just say hello, mommy, to Bayegun.
Okay. Hello, ma.
We love you.
Oh, thank
you. Keep it up.
I will, ma.
It's going to be well with you.
Amen.
Yes.
And now my dad.
Hey,
you're doing very well. You are going to succeed.
Amen.
Yes.
We are behind you. You are not alone.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Enjoy your stay, and then you're just gonna make me jealous.
All right, Baba. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, bro.
Thanks so much, Baba. And is that what you just want to do?
I came to England to visit them. So I'm taking back my message to Germany. Thank you so much, Baba.
God bless you, Baba. Enjoy your stay, okay? You have a good one, okay? Thanks a lot. Wow, that's kind of, all of you wait to get your papa and your mama. You don't know what God do you. I mean, like, I wish. I love that. Thank you so much, sir and ma, for that. So I have another caller on the line.
Hi, Mayegun. Good evening. Yeah, how are you?
I'm very well. Thanks.
Okay. How are you? Yeah, I'm very well. Okay, I'm just going to touch a bit on the call you made earlier in the day. Mohammed said he's from Emirates. I just laughed when he made that statement. You know, when you do not know your history, how do you know where you're going?
That's a tough one.
How can a Yoruba man, okay, the name is bearing Belgore, has he researched on that name, how he came about that name? And besides, there's a gentleman that called and said Mohammed is a Fulani man. Mohammed is not a Fulani man. The people should not make misleading and blanket statement. Mohammed is a Yoruba man. And that's why Mohammed asked that question. And it seems you do not understand why Mohammed said, can you go to the Vatican and call a Muslim prayer? He's now thinking, my man is waking up mentally. Kudos to him. Don't worry. With time. With time, yeah, he will understand. Now, fast forward going to what is happening in Igbo land. It's so sad because the thing is that I think there is a problem within the leadership of IPOB at the minute. Because I will not assert what I've not heard from my ears. I heard that Simon Ekpa is calling for sit at home. He was the one that called for the one with sit at home, whereas Nnamdi Kanu is saying the opposite. So what's going on? And when you have that sort of situation, then you have miscreants, like all sort of miscreants. And we know one of the major players now. We know him to be. He has marked himself. They told from. I call him the toad from the Greek. That it is slave, an Igbo slave that does not know his beginning. Yeah, that's always a problem. So going forward, I personally, for one, because we keep saying referendum, Nigeria is not going to conduct a referendum. A country that cannot conduct a free and fair election, how can they conduct a referendum?
That's a big question.
And they have, and somebody said the other day, I've forgotten his name, is a northerner. He said that referendum is not entrenched in our constitution. Which means you guys can say all you want. Listen, at the end of the day, I think a coup d'etat is just inevitable. It's coming to a place that a coup d'etat is inevitable. Talking about soldiers being paid poorly, I know about it. I've been involved with the military and all that. Even the generals, you'll be shocked at how much they pay them. And that's why you find the generals, people like Jagaban, they will bribe them, and or any other, it becomes very big money for them. You know, they are poor. These people are poorly paid. They are not professional. Yeah, they're poorly paid. So there's a prayer that somebody used to pray. He says, "Please, Lord, bless me so that I will not put my hands in sin." You know, God should bless him so that he will not. Yeah, not yeah. So look at an average policeman here. I mean, he's okay. Do you want to bribe a policeman in the UK? You can't. You can't even there. The man is well okay. I know that. Not to say that we do not have a rogue policeman sometimes,
of course.
Corrupt one. But when you want to go rogue and all that, you go for the big thing, you know. So the issue of IPOB or Yoruba Nation, my brother, is going to take. It's going to take more than just a mouthful. It's going to be a play. It's coming close where it's going to be armed struggle, and Tinubu. If he doesn't, I mean, they say the papa was saying, "Picking no go sleep, into no go sleep, into no go sleep." He and his criminals here, because it come to a time where there is going to be armed struggle, because he's using what I'll call a gangster style to run the government. By the time the Wala is already at his doorstep, but if that's time manifesting. But me personally, I think the only thing that will solve this whole thing and reset the whole thing, and I said it the other night that I called. This is a part of the thing that caused the 1966 uprising in the army, and then the first coup happened. I see another coup, and this time around, it's going to be bloody. Honestly, I don't wish for it, but it's going to be. Boy,
a lot of us don't. But when they continue in this trajectory, anything can happen.
Yes,
and we need to know that, all of us.
Yes, so let's just not be surprised. It's not about Igbos, or it's not about Yoruba. It's just about the injustice. How can you be calling for? I mean, senators calling for house ways allowance to where a lot of children are naked. They can't even feed. They don't even know where their breakfast, if there is going to be anything like breakfast. Some can't even go to school and all that. And our senators are overpaid idiots. Most of them, look at the other one that you played the video the other day that even can't speak English very well.
What's that guy's name again? He has a name and his name is quite funny as well. But yeah, I remember him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
let me take another call, right? Thanks so much.
Well, we keep looking, and we enjoy the ride. Anyway,
at least, all right. What we believe is that when things continue like this, like you also said, right, it will get to a stage that something is going to happen. We may not be 100% certain, but we believe if they continue like this, right, it's just a matter of time, Baba. You know?
Exactly. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Bye. So I'll take another caller here. Hello there. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes, I can hear you, Maya. Good evening.
Amazing. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Long time listener, first time caller.
Oh, did you say your first time caller as well?
Yeah, long time listener, first time caller.
Amazing. Oh, where's my shekere? How are you doing, sir?
Fine. My name is Chidi, and I'm calling from the UK here. You see, yeah. You see, when it comes to Nnamdi Kanu, most people don't know him. Yeah. I attended an IPOB meeting in London in Peckham, 2013.
Bless you.
Yeah. I'm from Abia State, and he's from Abia State too. Yes. Yeah. So during the course of the meeting, I asked me a question. I said, "You are from Abia State. I'm from Abia State, and we have a useless government."